on, everybody? Thank you very much for tuning in to Gokhshtein Unfiltered. I forgot what episode this is, but I'm sure I'll go ahead and update this once the show is over. Maren is on the show today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Can you give me just a quick breakdown of what you do in this space, in Web3 and crypto?
Sure. So I'm an astrologer. I've grown a social media following mainly around lighthearted content and also more serious content predicting political and financial cycles. So with that, find myself in the crypto space, being an investor, a trader, and now a founder as well.
When did you start? When did you really enter? When did you really enter the crypto space, or Web3, I should say?
In my last semester at NYU, during the first part of 2020, I had no knowledge of finance, money, anything. I was a philosophy student and realized that if I was going to graduate, I should have some basic understanding of finance just so that I could live and survive and eat and wouldn't be homeless. So as soon as I started getting into basic finance, just traditional, very basic budgeting, spending, investing type thing, I learned that I really was interested in it and had a passion for it. And then during the March 2020 crash, I realized I should start investing, but I found the traditional system a little bit strange and inefficient. So that led me to research crypto. And by summer 2020, I was fully really involved and learning everything I could.
So I sit back and I'm like, you're doing all this astrology stuff. From my side, I can say, is this stuff really real? And it could offend you, but from an outsider standpoint, for me, it's I've seen you nail 3 things. When I looked up your information on Twitter, and when you tweeted it out, things did happen. Did you get a lot of people saying this is a crock of shit? This ain't real. This is just you're getting lucky here.
I'd say that initially when I emerged into the space, there's a little bit of confusion, but quickly you learn that I'm not a funny person. This is not a joke. In fact, I'm very serious and just in general. So I'd say that initially there was some just what the hell is going on here? But at this point, no, I'd say at this point I get valid critiques from people who are tracking the same things as me and may disagree. And I keep everything out in the open. So the people who say I'm always wrong and always right are both idiots. I have some wins, some misses. And a lot of the time when I do miss things, it's because I have literally miscalculated something or back tested something incorrectly, rather than thinking that I've literally misattributed something that should have been back tested in a different way. So I welcome skepticism. I think that either buying it immediately and also dismissing it immediately are two sides of the same coin. I think it's a valid discussion, and that the clarity around the fact that I'm looking at correlation, not causation. In no way am I saying that astrology is causing anything, but rather that it's a system of cycles that reflects things happening on Earth. Helps clarify, I'd say, some of the midwit take of this isn't possible. I'm I can't argue with that if you're coming from already a causal framework. So initially there was a little bit more pushback, but now I feel like people leave me mostly alone for at least the astrology standpoint of things.
How long does it take you to finally come to a conclusion that so-and-so is going to happen on so-and-so date?
It depends on what I'm tracking, but I do this all day, every day. I don't really take days off or do anything else, you could say. So there's some things that are very simple indicators. It's memed and it's very, very simple, but the moon tends to be a easy 2-week swing trade indicator of a pivot point or a pivot day. It's not the most intense cycle. It's not something that is the most important, but something like that is pretty reliable and does not take me thinking too much about. Instead of something that's a little more complex involving multiple planets, I'll have to back test that, and that could take, a few hours to really make sure. So it varies, but then the synthesis of writing it all out and month to month deciding how to weigh each thing, that does take a few days generally, and I release predictions at the end of every month describing how I came to that conclusion. So the variance of the amount of effort that it takes differs depending on how often or how complicated the alignments are.
Do you have companies contacting you to help them understand when they should go ahead and do things? I would actually like I'm thinking about this right now as you're speaking. I'm like, would a company I mean, like if you're nailing a lot of these things, why wouldn't a company contact you to try to get a good gauge of when and where they should go ahead and start doing, let's say, something with their current protocol?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to do that, like I'd be down. I haven't really done that significantly for anyone. I've had friends who work for companies be like, "Yo, is this a good day?" And I can just casually be like, "Yes, no, this time." But no, I've never had anything really serious contact me. But I'd be down if they wanted.
Because that's what I'm kind of like. I would sit back and think like, okay, I'm gonna bring in somebody like yourself to tell me what's the right day to
Yeah.
go ahead and actually put something out for my company. What do you think about the entire landscape of uh I would say I'm gonna call it crypto Twitter? What are your personal thoughts on it?
I think the majority of the social dynamics are a total cesspool. I don't scroll my timeline. I don't know what anyone else is doing at any given time. I've struggled a lot with what people think of me and being very, very sensitive to online comments. And I think that that's been the struggle of the past few years for me to a degree that perhaps anonymous people online do not understand. And it's very easy for them to say, just shut the screen. But I mean, I don't, to be honest, I don't really have that much of a comment. I don't scroll. I just post. I don't know what anyone else is doing. That's kind of what my vibe on social media is. I literally have no idea what anyone else is posting unless they go out of their way to show me, or I legally need to go after someone for what they're saying about me. I don't know what anyone else is doing, but I try to contribute in a way that is fun to me and I feel like is providing value.
So it's more like, you know what, I'm gonna post something and I can care less about what your reaction is.
Yeah, I wouldn't say at this point I do care less, but that it's an ongoing journey to find that.
Okay.
Yeah.
When um the whole Celsius thing, when that popped off, first of all, I didn't see if you answered it or not, but actually I saw that you did answer it. Did you feel like taking time off of Twitter just because and for me on this subject, for me I feel like it only lasts a week and then it goes away. The issues go away, but like for that for the next 5 to 7 days, people will all jump in together to go ahead and turn a little story into a major story. But then again, it all goes it all goes right and they move on to the next topic. How did you feel though when people were coming out with news that you were paid by Celsius to promote Celsius?
Yeah, at first I wasn't even hurt because I was like, yes, did you see my videos? It was a normal ad slot, like it was a commercial ad slot. And if I was paid for it, like I was like, this is kind of weird that suddenly you're bringing this up when, like, I don't know, like this was just so disclosed on my YouTube that it was kind of like, yes, like I'm glad you now have the court document. Somehow this is news to you. Okay. So I actually wasn't hurt. I was literally like, what hurts me is the character assassination that developed later. So at first I actually was just like, okay, I guess keep my name in your mouth. Like, this isn't any video that was paid for was disclosed. Are you going after me without even watching my videos? Which, yes, is the case. The people that go after you never watch your videos. They don't have the heart to. So I was pretty like shocked, even at legitimate accounts, trying to be like just taking other things out of context when I said I wasn't paid for things I wasn't paid for. So at first I was like, this is just weird, guys. Like this is awfully weird. You reverse search my name in a 14,000 page document to find disclose like commercial slots as a YouTuber. That's kind of weird. I was like, this is weird. But then when sadly I did an interview with CoinDesk trying to speak about the treatment of women in the space and my own experiences, it was so incredibly twisted and like character assassination, suggesting that I was colluding with Celsius, that I was shocked. And that's when I began receiving safety and some pretty high level issues that did lead me safety wise to consider like one like significantly changing my location and also moving offline. I have decided never to actually fold and not post online because I think that causes much more harm than good when you do return and it's a big spectacle. So I've seen this time and time again where people do recommend to me to take time off. I feel like that is letting these people win. So I decide not to, even if it causes me extreme turmoil to every day see what's going on. in this case, it was a little less of an issue just because I found it so silly and so strange that I literally don't understand how someone wouldn't just go back and see that there was like commercial ad breaks. And it was like, thank you for the commercial. Like it was, I don't know, it was very strange. But I will say that the character assassination and the safety issues do lead you to take a second thought.
I think it is, you know, as long as you disclose it, I don't understand, you know, like it's almost like, you know, people put you on a pedestal and then, you know, they put you on a pedestal, companies come to you, protocols come to you, they want to work with you, they pay you money to go ahead and advertise on your platform being YouTube, and then it's almost like, oh my God, you're making money. Well, what do you expect me to do? I'm here working 24/7.
Yeah.
I have a company that comes to me, they offer me money to sponsor me or to be on my channel. What's wrong with that? As long as I disclosed it, what is wrong with that? I didn't tell you to buy
Yeah.
anything. I'm sure you didn't tell anybody to buy Celsius. You just had it on your platform.
Yeah. It was actually the strangest discrepancy of narrative versus reality because I had been open with my subscribers who are not crypto Twitter. My subscribers are 85% young women in the US. And they saw me for months being like, I don't take sponsors because I want to hold out for someone who's reputable. I was talking to several major exchanges because I did want one exchange that I would work with ongoing. And I spoke with multiple creative teams. I really liked Celsius's. I really liked their creative team. So that's why I literally went with them. It was that the creative team was cool. We had a lawyer on both sides verify all my content because you could never talk about sell token. That's standard. Honestly, if you're an influencer, if you're a content creator, you know you cannot talk about tokens. You cannot talk about price appreciation.
Correct.
My thing was like, now you can swap in this way. Let me show you how to apply to be an accredited investor. Like things like that that were just so kosher. And it was like literally you could take 20 seconds to go back in my video, see the thank you for sponsoring this video. Let's get into the ad. Like that. There's nothing to hide because I share my life with my audience. So I'm like, look, guys, now I have a sponsor. I don't usually get sponsored. I cuss too much. I'm abrasive, like things like that. I literally don't have any sponsors. That was my only sponsor. So people being like, oh, you got 30K. I was like, yeah, where are my other sponsors? Like that was it. Like, cool, I'm glad you're mad. You're probably making more than me. So it's all silly. And yeah, I'd say that the conflation between marketing and always paid shill dumping is very strange. Never paid and sell. It's paid USD to a bank account, somehow connecting me with Dubai extradition when I was paid in a US bank account. These people have no idea what they're talking about. So it's just very strange. And I don't particularly let myself dwell on it mentally until it becomes a safety issue, which it has. And I've had to take significant steps because it's just ridiculous.
I think it's good. The only way they can cancel you is if you don't show up. So good for you for holding your ground and not letting them
I've learned.
tear you. Yeah, it's
right.
I've been in the space for a long time, and like people will just throw out random shit when there and there's nothing that they have to back it up, and it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
I feel you on that point. I definitely feel you. You're not here. Listen, and nobody's here to. Listen. We can do charity work, but we also have to get paid. So if there's sponsors coming, and I'll speak for you on this one. If there's sponsors coming at you, as long as they're legitimate and everything's being done by the book, it's okay. It's the same way that people get paid outside of the space to go ahead and wear a certain clothing or put on certain lipstick or whatever it is. Like
exactly.
Yeah.
If I'm approached by a fashion brand, a lifestyle brand, and I use them and I find them reputable, like people telling me to do due diligence. Did you have access to this back end? Because my due diligence was never going to touch anything that would have been like, of course I look like, but I would have never seen the back end of like, so that can miss me with that. You can leave. Like that's very strange. But it was just so ironic because I was so openly like, I'm not doing sponsors because I want to hold out until like I have enough and I can like really get a good one and have one because I like that when I see a content creator and a brand really meld together and have like a relationship. And so I don't know. And the people who are like, if you were trading, you wouldn't need sponsors. 95% of my content is like lifestyle commentary, just me doing my thing. And you can see that it is impossible for me, at least in my lifestyle, to trade daily at this point. I will take the hit and just live my life. Like I will, there's like no conflict of interest between getting paid for your content and also going in the market when you have a trade. There's no conflict. It's just very strange. And I think it all stems back to the assumption of like, oh, how dare this girl online who I don't think has worked hard enough get compensated for her work when I am not getting recognized. And I'm like, I can't help that. I like it's both nature and nurture. Like there's some things I came into here with. I understand that as a woman, I get both favoritism and misogyny. Very rarely is there any middle ground. And also, if you want to see how much I work, literally look at my content. Like it doesn't take a genius to be like, oh my God, there's so much there. TikTok doesn't pay shit. YouTube pays mediocre, but like TikTok literally doesn't pay shit. Tens of millions of views a month. I get maybe a few $100s. I can't even withdraw it because it's telling me to go to some other app I don't own, which I can't download. So yeah, it's silly and a lot of conflation and assumptions. And it doesn't take a long time if you actually watch my content to like hear the words out of my mouth and be like, oh yeah, this person is not this. But these people again don't have the heart to watch the content. That's the major discrepancy. It's like they spend their time online crafting stories and fan fiction, frankly.
Well, and they hop on trends, so it's like, what's the latest trend? Who is being destroyed? And let me jump on
Yeah.
that, and let me
Yeah.
destroy this person that I don't know. I've never tuned into their YouTube or TikTok or Twitter to go ahead and even get a gist of what they go ahead and deliver out there to the general public. And let me
That's the
just go ahead and
weirdest
shit
part.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually the weirdest part because there was something that sadly was getting passed around a lot, which was a headline that I feed people into meat grinders. I've literally only spoken about Bitcoin and ETH over the past year. I people saying that my astrology courses are meat grinders. They don't talk about crypto. It's like basic, like this planet means this. Of course, I'm going to monetize that. If my effort went into that, then I'm selling it, but it has nothing to do with crypto. So I've had to like go after some of these things where literally they're telling me that I'm somehow crafting Ponzi schemes and I'm like, I literally talk about Bitcoin and ETH for 30 seconds a month. This is actually insane. And that's how I think that a lot of the mass hated people in the world, it's a accumulation of mass delusion that people feel like they're
Yeah.
joining in on. And if that person was actually heard or allowed to speak a little bit more clearly or directly, because I know for years I was definitely not really active, but mentally part of a group that felt like a lot of the world was just bad, every ism, obic, whatever. I never actually heard these people talk. I only heard them taken out of
Yeah.
context. And I think it's
Yeah.
similar. So now I kind of feel like just it's weird.
With everything skipping away from Web3 and the toxicity over there, what do you feel about, well, I assume that you're Jewish. Are you Jewish?
Yeah.
All
How
right. I'm Jewish
did you
also.
assume that? You just
Last name
figured?
gave it away. I don't know. Just
Okay.
last
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
Um, so Yay,
Yeah.
I'll say Yay,
Yeah.
went ahead and came out and talked about that the Jews own the media. What are your
Right.
thoughts on that?
If the Jews own the media, then why am I publicly slandered every day? I don't. It doesn't make sense. Um, when he said that, I was immediately like, let me hear his explanation because he's not going to just go out and say that. I'm not someone who takes offense to what public figures say, so I can say the statement was anti-Semitic, and also I'm not hurt by it. I'm like, okay. And then I went on to hear Lex Friedman's interview with him, which I thought was incredible because it was grounded, it was logical. I think we're so quick to think that we need to like bombard someone with hate instead of I wanted to hear him out. What is his reasoning? His reasoning
Yeah.
was the fact that he felt that he had been wronged in the industry by significantly by Jewish people over and over and over. So
Mm.
then, oh, the Jews run the media statement. I have evidence for that. I think there was more of a logical jump that was unfounded on his part, where he could have been totally wronged by multiple Jewish people, and if so, like that's sad. To jump then to Jews run the media, I think was a convenient. It was a convenient already kind of rhetoric in the world that fit with his experience. So I think for him, it was less of intentional hatred and more of people need to realize this. We need to stop this. So again, I didn't take offense to it. It was a problematic statement. I didn't take offense to it. And I think that hearing him out is helpful so other people learn not to conflate personal experience with rhetoric that might be harmful in the world. I think I wasn't really, I'm not on either side of he didn't mean it that way. And also we need to deplatform him. I'm not really on either side. I think hearing him and understanding him and where it was coming from is what I find the most helpful because I will still listen to his music. I don't agree with that statement, and I think that some other things he said, done are a little strange as well. But I don't cast this like hatred on him. I don't really care. But I think it's a learning point for people who immediately jump to conclusions to maybe listen to things like the interview so he can explain himself. Because like Lex says in there, as much as I do disagree with you, and I wish they would stop saying the Jewish media, I know that you're filled with love and good intentions, and I can agree with that as well. That I don't really take the time to personally invest in that, but I think it's a situation where not jumping to hatred and rather hearing him out is important, so you can see, oh, his experience conveniently lined up with something harmful in the world.
I think Lex, I'll agree with you, Lex. And I really don't tune into his podcast, but this one
Yeah,
I did tune into. And I think at times I saw that he was frustrated
yeah,
uh, beyond belief. Did I
yeah,
go off? I did watch Lex for the first time,
yeah,
and I never tuned into his stuff, but he held, you can see at times he was like really holding it in,
yeah,
because you could tell like he was tensed up like on certain
yeah,
things that Kanye was saying, and I was like,
yeah,
oh my god, I feel him. I feel him.
yeah,
The only reason I'm Jewish and I'm proud to be Jewish,
yeah,
when I feel like Jews don't talk up at all. Like we don't say much. We hold it
right,
in.
right,
Like
yeah,
when I'm on social media all the time, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. If I tweet on Twitter, there's always some dickhead that goes and puts up like Gargamel or like
yeah, me
whatever
too.
into the tweet, and just like it doesn't even, if I just want to let you guys know, like I'm so numb to it, it doesn't matter. Like I'm numb
Yeah,
to all this stuff. So like you doing that, it's a waste of your time. Like really, like you're wasting your time. But somebody
right,
does that. And for me, it was like Kanye West being the platform that he does have. And I don't want him to be deep platform.
right,
I'd rather him have Twitter, rather him be able to have a platform to speak on, because the only way we'll ever get to some sort of conclusion here is if we're able to speak to the other party. So I don't believe in
exactly.
as soon as you do that, like even with Andrew Tate, right? Do I agree with what Andrew Tate says? Not a fan of what he said.
Yeah,
There's a few things he says that you can say, okay, I get it from a male standpoint. Yes, you should work out. You should take care of
right,
yourself. It's not a bad thing. I work out 3 days, 3 times a day. You could just clap your hands for 20 minutes. But
exactly.
taking away somebody's platform sucks. But Kanye or Ye, the message you put out there, it's anti-Semitic, and people are just I almost feel like people are just looking for reasons to hate on somebody who's Jewish. So when
Yeah,
you put it out there, when Lex made that point, well, you know what? Stop calling out the Jewish community, call out the individuals. I was clapping. I was like, yeah, exactly. Like
I
if
felt
I
the
was hurt
exact
by,
same.
right? Like if you're hurt by
Yeah,
somebody, like go after them. Like if this guy
yeah,
Danny or this guy, I don't know, Jose hurt me. Well, I'm saying, Jose, you hurt me, and I'm gonna rip you apart. Like,
right, right.
don't call out an entire community. You know what happens?
Yeah,
Some kid's gonna walk out of school. He's gonna get jumped. He might get brain damage, and the kids that did it are gonna say, you know what, Yeezy, but Yeezy went ahead and told me to do so.
yeah. I agree. I think like I really felt for Lex because I also had my family killed in the Holocaust and only my grandmother and grandfather survived. So I understood his specific language about like what you're saying, even though you don't mean it to be, really rings true to like the like Nazi Germany during that time. Like it really sounds like that. And I think the individual part was the important one because in like the jump was a little strange in my opinion for Kanye to even make. Like never have I felt like if a certain demographic lines up with who's mistreating me, that that demographic is then corrupt or somehow a problem. So I completely agree. And like also I think like with all me and my, it's just funny because I have found that unintentionally throughout my life, a lot of my friends are Jewish. Like just it's just we I guess we surround each other. And we don't really talk about this unless this kind of thing happens. Like it's not something that is really like verbally the topic of conversation at all until I'm like at first I remember being like first comment he said was like black is Jew. I was like, did I miss something? And then all my Jewish friends were like, did we miss something? Like I
Hmm.
don't know. And then he's talking about the tribes, and we're like, and none of us really like grew up practicing like really a lot. So we're all like, oh, we must have missed something. Like he probably, I don't know. But then he gets into the media, and then I'm just like, if the media really ran this, then why do they hate me? Like I don't think it makes sense. So I agree that going back to the individuals over the some kind of collective being corrupt, because
Yeah.
it's easy to think like, oh, I think a lot of the time, honestly, these larger conspiracies come into play because it makes us feel like we don't have to go after individuals. Oh, it must be this huge thing. I am the victim of this huge thing. But it's different when it's like a population that had that happen throughout literal history. Like when you think about this over like thousands of years, this kind of thing, it's like, come on, please. Like, no. This is no, thank you.
I was on social media and I actually did a show today, and I was like, when and yeah, I just say whatever I feel. Like I don't
Right.
really, like I said in the beginning in this show, like they can only cancel you if you don't show up. And I
Right.
feel like 20 years ago this was okay to go ahead and talk about. I'm 40, so it's okay for me to go ahead and talk about something 20 years ago where, like, look, Asian there was like 2-3 years ago where Asians were being attacked,
Mm.
and everybody came out and said, we have to stop Asian hate. Like everybody came
Right.
out. Something like this happens with, Kanye talking about the Jewish media, and there's always one Jew who's next to somebody. Like, he made mention of, you know, Trump with and his son-in-law and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I don't hear a lot of voices stepping up and saying that's wrong. Yeah, okay, I get it. Adidas went ahead and canceled him. CAA went ahead and, stopped doing business with them. You had one or two athletes that dropped off from Donna Sports and stuff like that. But there hasn't been this big outcry. Like, oh, like we can't have this, or shirts being printed out. Not that I care for it, but I haven't seen shirts being like Jewish lives matter as well. Like
Right.
I haven't seen any of that. And I feel like you know, as a Jewish person, you always hold it in. It's like, okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay, whatever. They always say this. But at one
Right.
point, did you just say like,
Actually,
no, no, enough. Enough.
yeah,
It's
to say actually, that was my thought as well. When this came out, I was like, oh, they're literally my internal monologue was like, oh, they'll always hate us. Like, it's okay, like whatever, like this always happens. I don't think I think one side of me wants to say, because this was so blatant, like this was so blatantly playing into that the majority of people are like, oh my God, whatever. Like this is like, don't listen to him. And I think maybe the flip side is also a bit of fatigue over having to say over and over to this, to where I don't know if the social media campaign will blow up. Frankly, my tendency is even to be like, don't victimize me, please don't post about it, just like get your shit
yeah.
together and don't listen to him. So in a way, I'm kind of glad that I don't know, like I don't want to. I received like some texts from friends where like I support. It was like, bro, I know you support me. I don't need this. It's cool, but I understand that's like I get honestly. I'm like I'm okay, thank you. But I think part of the reason might be fatigue over having to advocate for this, like literally historical fatigue, and also I personally I have not heard that many incidents of, I guess, violence. I don't know if I've heard any. I don't listen to the news. I don't know if there's increased violence because of this. If there is, then I would hope that there would be more shared. If there's not, then I understand that maybe it's not something that's taking off. I just simply don't watch the news, so I actually don't know the extent of if what he's saying is blowing up in a really harmful way.
I don't watch mainstream media as well, so I don't know. I don't know what's
Right.
happening on the
Yeah.
news, because nothing on the news is ever positive. So like
Right. Same.
I like to wake up in the morning and like I get up and like I'm super positive, even if I'm waking up cranky. I'm like trying to find a way to be positive for the day,
Right.
so my energy
Agreed.
doesn't leak onto somebody. So fuck mainstream media, as I always say. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't need you know what, I agree with you. I don't need a pity party. I can care less about that. But it'd just be nice that, uh there's thousands upon thousands of years Jews have been attacked. Just like chill already.
Yeah.
Like, all right. And like if everybody can stand up for us as well, that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
Um, you talk about lifestyle, which we had a section. I'm the founder of Gokhshtein Media, and like we report on Web3 and stuff, but we did have a lifestyle section. And particularly, what do you focus on with lifestyle? Because that's interesting for me.
Yeah. So unintentionally, I just came into sharing basically my whole life online. It started in college when I went from doing, I was an actor growing up and I got into NYU for acting initially and then I transferred into philosophy and I was like, but I still kind of like putting myself out there and doing things. So why don't I just start posting on YouTube like vegan what I eat in a day? Because like I cook a lot, it's kind of cool. I watch vegan YouTube. That was like my main thing for, I don't know, my whole teenage year was like, let me watch these recipes and like this thing. So as like emo as I am, I'm actually like definitely that green juice soul cycle like workout person.
Emo?
That is I like, yeah, I mean I just have like tattoos everywhere. I'm seeing My Chemical Romance for the 5th time in a month, in 2 days. So like definitely I have like red hair. I don't know, I just never it's not a phase. It's like this is my apartment is new right now, so you don't see, but all my furniture is white with blood on it. That's how I've designed it, so that's what my apartment's gonna look like. Actually I have my shower curtain that just came in with that right here. I don't know if you can see, but like there's blood all over the shower curtain. This already came like this. So I just share a lot of both what I wear and like live around that, and also healthy lifestyle, because I don't take any days off of that kind of lifestyle or work. So I share that, which ironically is like a really positive thing that I feel like gets overlooked a lot with the narratives and like conspiracies about me in just all different ways. But I'd say lifestyle is mainly like fitness and healthy living, and sometimes makeup tutorials. I usually do makeup tutorials while I'm like talking about something informative, because yeah.
I I just wonder what the delivery guys think when they see a shower curtain with like blood on it. They're like, what the fuck did I just walk into?
Yeah, I getting some help for some of the furniture that's come in and needs to be assembled was a little funny, and they just know me at my building. It's like a very large building, but they know me because it's like always red. The packages are always a little strange. So yeah.
Do you have a lot of women who contact you and thank you for the content that you put out there?
Yeah, it's actually made me have to get over difficulties I had with accepting compliments and being grateful. Because a lot of my life, I literally would not internalize compliments. I would nod, say thank you, but I would be like, do not feel that. Like, that will make you weak. Like, only take the hate and the criticism. Especially recently, when I have really opened up about how actually life threatening and detrimental extreme online hate over years can be to someone. The mass outpouring of, specifically, I'd say my actual main demographic is women 25 to 34 in the US. I just turned 24, so I find it interesting that most of my audience is older than me by up to a decade. The next biggest demographic is 35 to 45. It's like teenagers are actually not the majority of my audience, which makes sense kind of with my delivery and the information and the music I talk about, which I don't think these people are listening to. I don't think they listen to like 2002 My Chemical Romance. Maybe they do. Yeah, I'm sorry if you're one of the 16-year-olds that does, because I was. But I get a ton of outpouring of messages. I get a lot of death threats, but in the scheme of things, I get hundreds of times more really kind messages, and I can't get to all them whenever I'm on like a flight or have an extra hour. Often the way that I spend my time is replying to these messages and taking them to heart. But I get an incredible amount of comments, messages, sometimes even like fan mail that is thanking me, and specifically with like building my company Astrology, which is putting astrology on Web3 and blockchain. I know that that will onboard even more young women into something that will benefit their lives, learning about blockchain, learning about this technology. So that's honestly what keeps me going, despite like some of the insane things that people send.
That's fucking social media is crazy. You just like
Yeah.
I try to wrap my head around it sometimes because I accidentally, I've been on social media for a long time. I mean, I go back to AOL. I'm that old, right? So like, go back to AOL, and like, you've always been a part of social media. I've been on Twitter forever, and 2016, 17, like
Right.
somebody started talking shit about Bitcoin, so I jumped in. I was like, let me school this motherfucker on Bitcoin. And like for six
Right.
hours, I'm going at it with tweets. And this is not like me. And I'm like tweeting away. And then I don't know, you get this platform. People like, I guess they like the New York in me, like, because I speak my fucking mind. I can care less what anybody thinks at the end of the day. And here you get this following, and then uh people from from the other side of the fence are like, no, 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 I don't like that he has this following, so I'm going to send him death threats, I'm with you on that one. And I'm gonna just send nasty shit into the DM. I have my DMs open. I won't close them.
Right.
And people send this nasty shit. It can. There was a time, yo, I kind of I sat back. I'm like, yo, like I know how I treat people. I'm really good to people. And here I have people because the trolls are always the loudest. Like your fans, they love you, but they don't have time to go ahead and defend you. They have
Right.
jobs, families, and all
Exactly.
that stuff. You know what?
Exactly. The fans are positively aligned, living their own life. They don't comment. I don't
Correct.
comment on shit. Like, yeah.
Correct. So like that, it's not like, and sometimes you think about it because you're just getting adjusted to social media. At least I was, and I'm like, where are my fans at? Like all these people that follow me and love me. Where are you at? Nobody's defending me. Well, they don't have time for that. And the 5%,
Exactly.
they do. Like they don't have a job. They're sitting in grandma's basement eating chunky soup on their old ass computer, and they can't wait to go ahead and cut your legs off. They can't wait to go ahead and say something stupid to you to ruin your day.
Exactly.
And I really sat back at one point. I was like, you know what? This is not healthy. Like for me to constantly think about it, I was like, this is not healthy. I have thick skin, but I was like, this is really not healthy. But I just like, I took a week off and I was like, hold on. If I fucking leave, I let them win and I don't accomplish the goals that I've set forth for myself. So I said, fuck it. And I think there's a switch that goes off and says, you know what? Fuck it. Don't give a fuck. Say what you want.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Because in real life, when you meet all these people at conferences, and I'm sure you've gone to plenty of conferences, the same people that are talking shit about you are the same ones that are shaking your hands.
Always. I have actually a few times intentionally, just to make a point, like years ago, whenever people would often, like whenever I'm at conferences, the majority of my time is taking pictures with people and like saying hi and things like that. And I have a few times gone back because I am kind of insane. I don't do this anymore because I don't have time, but I would reverse search myself in their tweets and see what's been said. And a lot of the time it would be like the excruciatingly really hurtful things. But of course they get a picture with you and suddenly it's like, oh, happy to meet you, whatever. So I do think about how, I mean, I understand why someone would, I don't want to say hate me, but immediately there's an uprise of jealousy, accusations. Oh, she can't be doing this in a positive light. She must be some kind of like paid scammer with like a guy behind her running the account, like absolute bullshit. Then that leads me honestly in my life to become a much more humble, much less judgmental person because the amount of strange narratives and presumptions made about me that are quite literally fan fiction and further from the truth than like anything I could even craft myself when I used to write One Direction fan fiction on Wattpad is like I it has humbled me in my life and it has made me actually rethink positions on what I think is the right way to live my life. Who am I to think that I have some life experience and understanding of the world that is greater than the 24-year-old girl that I am? Like, why should I be thinking about other people's lives, things like that? I think that remembering that people like me, who there are definitely people I look up to and I have followed for years, if not a decade, and really appreciate their content. The only times I even commented, even before I had a following, especially now, is when I want there to be support around someone, and I know that my comment, because it's verified, will like go to the top and can garner support. I never just think about casually liking something because I know that if I comment, it'll get a bunch of hate around it and like swarms. I just don't want to do it. But the average person is just simply going to view, appreciate, and is a silent viewer, a silent commenter. Like less than 5% of people actively comment. So that perspective is important because when people have an issue, like the Yelp page for a restaurant might be 3 to 4 stars. It might be an amazing restaurant. So these people just don't have time, and that is important to remember because it's the loudest voices that you do hear, and often they're not the ones that are most helpful to hear. They're not representative.
Who has time? By the way, all you Yelpers, I where do you have time to sit there for 20 hours to write a essay about you eating lasagna and it was horrible?
Yeah.
Or the way that the waiter went ahead and put the fork down wasn't the right way to go about things. Like, where do you find the time? Like I would never.
No.
If I see a pizzeria ranked at 1.4, I'm going there. I'm
Right,
going there
right.
because if you had the time to rate this place, that says everything I need to know about
Yeah.
you. These people, my friend actually is a Yelper, and he wins these awards at the end of the year. I'm like, you win awards to go ahead and bash businesses. Think
Yeah.
about what you're doing. You're bashing a
In
business because they didn't serve you correctly, sir.
Right, right. Whenever I have a poor experience, I just simply don't return. The market will resolve itself. I can't be the only one. I don't really think to Yelp. I think the only time I've actually ever written a review was when I think it was me in high school. I ordered like a scale on Amazon and it shattered and glass went everywhere, like standing on it. And I'm like 9,500 pounds. That is when I honestly, and with my real name, wrote, and I saw I was not the only person. I was like, this thing did shatter. Please, like, be careful. I remember that because it had to take a physical safety issue for me to want to comment and like write something significant. So because of that, I also think about there's like really funny stories on Yelp that is just horrible. Like someone will write a horrible review in the business. There was one funny one where this woman is like, they discriminated against me. They wouldn't serve me. They commented with a video link, and she had actually she like pooped in the restaurant, so they had to like escort her out. And they're like, and you still comment to this and expect us to like have some sort of disability discrimination thing. So I find them funny, and yeah, I don't have the time to read, to write, to do anything like that. I'm living my life and creating. If you have time to really tear someone down and have these weird receipt piecing together narrative, you have problems. Like, please go do something.
Can you imagine if they had the ability to Yelp us?
Oh my God.
Like
I feel like they do on Reddit. That's what Reddit is. Oh, it's so horrible. I literally can't stomach reading about myself. It is atrocious. Reddit and 4chan. I'll never ever go there. I can't.
did you get yourself a Reddit NFT?
No, but I saw that. Honestly, I am so, whenever I hear the word Reddit, I'm like, oh, what now? What's happening? So I don't even want to go near it, but maybe I will. I don't know.
I've never been into Reddit. Like I've read a few things on there. I was like, oh my God, these people have nothing to do. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I call it as
Yeah.
unfortunate. I would never. I mean, that place is completely toxic. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
people think Twitter is toxic. I mean, that place.
No.
Go walk there
Yeah.
for a second. All right,
Yeah, definitely.
what's happening with Bitcoin? Like, tell me. You wrote something about something's about to happen soon. Like, I saw it on your Twitter.
Yeah.
I was like,
So,
I'm gonna before you come on the show, let me just do a little research here.
yeah.
I was like, what's happening? Should I get out of Bitcoin? Should I get more Bitcoin? I know, not financial advice. What am I doing?
Yeah. So on October 28th, which is tomorrow as of today, um, the planet Jupiter re-enters the sign of Pisces. It was there May until July of 2021. It was there January until May of 2022. And both those times were very distinct to the day down market periods of a specific range. So the fact that Jupiter is re-entering that does suggest that there will be a dump and it will be a significant down market period over the next 2 months, November, December. Um, if I'm wrong, I am wrong, but this has been back tested several times in many markets to where I have nothing to hide. I will go with the back tested data and see that when this has happened to the day multiple times before, it would make sense as well because we just had a solar eclipse, which is a new moon. We pump into new moons and dump out of them. So with this being 3 days after this like very important new moon, which is a solar eclipse, I just like all systems go. I'm even the fact that so many people think that this is like we're back. Like I'm like, are you that like really, really? I get it that we were at like support, but whenever I see a lot of people being like, we're back, like we're in it, I'm like, okay, we're no.
It's like, but it's I think it's like being stuck in the desert with no water and like
Getting a drop.
yeah, you just get a drop of it and just like oh my God, like I could feel my legs again. Like,
Yeah.
but thanks for the 2 months, theory here because well, I'm hoping that on November 25th, I don't know what you see on that date, but hopefully everything goes parabolic.
Is that your
But
birthday?
yeah, so I was
Yeah.
like, everything goes parabolic. Yes, I'm a Sagittarius. Don't know what
Okay.
that means in your world. I'm just saying, Sagittarius here, November 25th. I'm hoping that everything goes parabolic, but I don't want to see it. All kidding aside, I don't want to see anything go parabolic. I want it to move healthy. But I do look at the charts and I don't know, like I'm not completely sold on what I'm seeing right now. Not completely.
Yeah.
So
I think like astrology aside, any predictions aside, you can see several times that this has happened where we have a significant move up, but I mean, of course it'll eventually move up, like eventually it will work out. But this has happened, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 times within the past year or so in this, or not year, but maybe 8 months in this range. So it doesn't, I don't know, I'm like, okay, like have fun. And I don't think it's a bad buy necessarily, given that it did go, we did have a short-term rally, but really, really like major caution as of tomorrow. So I guess on my flight, I will be opening a short.
And well, that holds the same for Ethereum, I presume, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I track both Astrology, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. With their charts, actually, most times one will be extremely similar to the other because of some of the correlation between the two. But in a way, you can always just go back to Bitcoin chart because it's context, which is why when people ask me to look at the astrology of some random altcoin, I'm like, for one, no, because I'll get crucified by people thinking that I'm paid for it. And two, just there's no reason. I'll look at Bitcoin for context.
You won't do something just because, well, no, I can sense your attitude. You're not like that though. But
Yeah.
does it stop you from, so you said altcoins, other altcoins.
Yeah.
You stop from doing something just because you just don't want to go through the toxicity that comes with being
Yeah.
out there on social media?
Yeah. I think it's
Really?
you pick and choose your battles, and there's some things where I will not falter. Like people thinking that there are people who blatantly misunderstand that I sell basic astrology courses, thinking that they're crypto financial advice courses. This is stupid, and I will not somehow stop doing this because you're misunderstanding the literal basic thesis of anything I provide. That's like I'm not going to stop. I'm also not going
Yeah.
to stop making videos because you make up things about me, you make up things about my personal life that are just wildly strange. That's the kind of thing where I'm like, okay, whatever. Um, I will, for one, I would at this point, because of so many, such a big audience, I would not talk about anything low cap. That's like a basic standard because even if I'm well intentioned about thinking that it's important, I know that it's kind of the BitBoy effect where you will have people buying in it going up and people will then take profit. A lot of people will take profit. A lot of people will be left back holding. Even if I myself am not even in it and I'm not even buying, selling, but I talk about it, there's a certain amount of basic responsibility with a very low cap project or something where I'm not going to speak about it. But this has kept me from speaking on any large cap alts as well, just because I do feel like it hurts that community and it hurts the team. And ironically, it goes from during a bull run, everyone wanting you to speak about them to now, I don't feel that it would be a net positive. And frankly, I'm not like bullish on anything right now. I don't really have a reason to. So overall, it's not a battle that I choose to enter because it's like, I'll stick to the big ones. I don't have any comments on what I think about altcoins right now. Sure, a lot of them are promising, and right now people conflate price with fundamentals. I don't have time to pick their brain about that. The fact that price and fundamentals are not the same thing. So yeah, it does keep me away.
Do you see yourself in the future opening up and doing more of that stuff, or you're content with doing everything this way?
I'd say that because I feel like I can provide the most value on basic overall market commentary and basic financial literacy. I don't see myself like I'm not someone that understands the nitty gritty of DeFi or rebase algo yields. Like I'm not the most advanced in that by any means. So that keeps me away from talking about protocols that do require that level of. I literally don't. You can try to explain it to me. I grew up being an actor. Like I'm sorry. Like I'm high IQ on some things. I'm extremely low IQ on anything that is a little bit more complex than like buy, sell, loan, swap, entry, exit, up, down. If it's a really complicated lending, yields, I don't miss me. So that does keep me away from actually a lot of DeFi projects that if I can't understand what it even does, I'm not going to talk about it. But in the future, I don't think I would speak on anything unless it's like I guess during the Luna crash, I spoke on Luna. No one's going to think I'm paid by that necessarily. But for the majority, I don't really see myself expanding into what I'm not passionate about.
You have this platform. What do you really want to do with this platform that you have? Like, if you're looking 10 years down the line,
Yeah.
what do you want to do with the platform? What do you want to really build your brand into?
Yeah. My priority right now is scaling from just like Maren and into more of impacting the world outside of myself because I will always have fun sharing my life. Like right now, there's like my vlog cameras over there charging. I do thoroughly enjoy it. But I want to build systems that allow astrology to be accessible, helpful, and cutting edge for people that do not just want to be Maren fans. So I'm building Astrace, which is putting astrology on blockchain and building dApps where you can see all the data and interact with it in the Web3 sense. But continuing to, I think, philosophically provoke people is what I enjoy doing. I do enjoy making people challenge their conception of reality. And if I can make that fun at the same time, and I can, I don't know, like wear all red, and I don't think I'll ever, I guess, outgrow or change the fact that I'm pretty much just I'm a lighthearted entertainer that talks about serious things. I'm not usually like joking. I'm usually serious, but I like the petty stuff, like the presentation. So doing that, but on a scale that doesn't revolve me and impacting people through that is my goal over time.
I can see also that like you don't want to be pigeonholed to crypto. Like, and
Right.
I have the same thing also. Like I know like my whole thing is crypto and Web3, but I don't want to be pigeonholed and be known just for that. And I feel that from you, like like you speaking, like even when we started in the beginning and I just mentioned crypto and Web3, it's like, man, I get asked these fucking questions all the time. Can we talk about something else? Is that
Exactly.
right on that?
Yeah, I think the basis of me always has been sharing authentically what interests me, and that being astrology, that being crypto. I mean, yes, lifestyle incorporated into that. I know that the most helpful way that I can, like, the most helpful videos are not going to be my like vegan recipe videos. It's going to be, so I don't really do those anymore necessarily unless it's like in a day to day, I don't know, something else. I think the if people who came after me so much in crypto really realized the span of my content and my audience, they might back down a little bit, and they can see that I'm taking more of a journalistic approach of like documenting my journey and what I'm learning along the way. And a lot of that has been really empowering financial literacy and understanding how trading can change my life and be something that I incorporate. But in no way do I try to, ironically, I have a lot of people thinking that I am like overconfident or projecting out in a way that is just not appropriate for my expertise level. But like I'm openly the definition of like a bumbling idiot. I just happen to share it online in a confident way. So I do want to keep talking about crypto in a way that supports others, but in no way do I want to go outside of my scope and somehow talk about, I don't know, like developer like things or to it. Like there are a lot of very smart people in the space that have a background and intellectual capability for finance that for me is elsewhere. So I'll stay in my lane, which is just what I like talking about.
That's awesome. I think you're super unique, honestly, especially after this conversation. Definitely, I think you have a super IQ. You're definitely smart as hell. Um, and I do hope you succeed with everything that you're hoping to obtain in this life.
Thank you.
That's 100 authentic. I don't bullshit. I tell you, even
Yeah.
on here, go
Yeah.
kick rocks. But yeah, it's just all, and it's also nice to see more women in this space. I hate to bring up the gender thing, but the space has matured with more women coming into it. Sorry
Yeah.
guys, just fact. Women.
I used to be all like, you know, if more women wanted to be here, they would be here. There's no need to like do whatever. And I still don't really like talking on women's panels. It's a little bit like put me on the normal panel or don't invite me. But there's no denying that a lot of the reason for women not being in here is because there's like extreme off-putting language and extreme off-putting behavior. That doesn't mean that you have to walk on eggshells, but also means that like sadly a lot of my comments or my reactions are the main reason for women being like, should I get into crypto? I'm scared after seeing what they did to you. I have to explain to them that like you're probably not going to be up here talking about Bitcoin astrology, collecting red lingerie, and doing photo shoots with fake blood. Like you're probably not going to be that offensive to people. But I think that there is a point of like myself really trying to make it approachable and accessible because there's a lot of verbiage and terminology that doesn't need to be so euphemistic and can just be more direct. You don't need to say like, I don't know, there's a lot of terminology that's just euphemisms, I think, that make it seem more complex than it is. And talking about the basics will help women who may have a lot of predisposition and interest and capability get into this who might otherwise not have that opportunity.
Listen, if I could get away with it, I'd probably do the whole thing also. I think that's cool though. I think that
Yeah.
again, what you do is it's pretty cool to me. Like I just I wanted to ask for the lottery numbers, but I know like you know, it is what it is. I
Right.
know I don't want you to charge me anything. Just
Right.
being getting facetious. But I want to thank you for taking the time to come on to Gokhshtein Unfiltered.
Of course.
I forgot what episode it is. We have a lot of episodes. I don't know which episode this is, but this will be played right after the Patrick Bet David episode that I had, where we were talking about everything that was happening in Iran with the current movement out there. So really happy to have got you on. Where can the usual line, where can people go ahead and tune in to go ahead and catch some of your content, even though we're going to put it up there anyway?
All my social media is Maren Altman. I don't have any social media handle that is not my name, Maren Altman. I own that on all platforms. Majority of my audience, my following is TikTok, obviously, but you can catch me posting elsewhere, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram as well.
Awesome. Thank you for your time today. Really appreciate it. This was Gokhshtein Unfiltered. Tune in on Wednesday nights, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you.